The intention of the June 13th letter wasn't that San Diego State is exiting. I totally believe you, Mr. Source there. It might be Mrs. Source. I don't know. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football back at it again. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on everything college football, pro football, Madden, EA college football, NFL draft, anything related to American football, hit that red subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. Also hit the like button too and follow on Twitter, okay? Growing that Twitter family. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So last week, there was a report on Friday. Basically came out and said that San Diego State had formally, informally asked the Mountain West whether or not they could leave or not. And again, whatever the situation is there, it looks like they intend to leave. Now, again, they say, oh, no, we don't. The Mountain West is taking it serious and basically saying, no, you're on your way out, and there's no stipulation. San Diego State had originally asked the Mountain West, can we have an extension? Because we're not sure if our a contract negotiation between a certain conference is going to be finished by a certain time period. And again, not those exact words, but that was kind of where it was hinting at. Basically, what we're trying to say here is that the Pac-12 is finishing up their deal. They have more than likely been in contact, the San Diego State and the Pac-12, as to whether or not they would join their conference. And then San Diego State, in a very clumsy fashion, basically asked to break up. And again, I've got a video about that. This last Saturday. There's a video about it yesterday. There's lots of stuff you can talk about there. However, more importantly here is this from the Mountain West's perspective, because they're in a pretty bad spot in a couple of different ways here. What I'm going to do really quickly here is go through an article articulating how they're feeling about this, because if it's a breakup, they're not taking it very well. And again, I don't blame them in this situation. They're not taking the breakup very, very well, but also what they do from here, because their options are limited. And again, I'm actually going to copy another conference for what they did and what the Mountain West should do going forward. First, let's get in that article, and then we're going to get into kind of what they were going to do and now the updated versions of what they should do. So right here on ESPN.com, it says Mountain West won't approve any exceptions for San Diego State. The Mountain West Conference sent an additional letter to San Diego State on Friday informing the school that at this time, the conference will not approve any exceptions the school had requested last week when it gave notice it intends to resign from the conference, sources told ESPN's Pete Thamel on Monday. San Diego State had requested a one-month extension given unforeseen delays involving other collegiate athletic conferences beyond our control, aka I'm guessing the Pac-12 conference negotiation, plus a reduced fee or the ability to pay the exit fee in installments. So the Mountain West letter was in response to San Diego State's assertion that it had not given formal notice of withdrawal. We were just asking. No. We were just kind of probing. What if we kind of broke up a little bit? And again, that's the situation that they're trying to present there. Nobody's really absorbing it. Says it continues on. The conference also said it did not accept the school's claim that it had not given formal notice of resignation. San Diego State would need to give a year's notice to withdraw with next June, basically. So they give a year's notice, basically by June 30th of this year, to withdraw by June 30th of 2024 in order to have the exit be what it is. It would be about 16.5 if it was done before June 30th, a couple of days from now. However, if it's done one day later and they want to leave by a little bit early within a year, it would be $34 million. It continues on here. It says 16.5 to nearly $34 million. As of now, there does not appear to be an invitation to San Diego State from the Power 5 Conference, although SDSU has long been linked to the Pac-12 and the school has been part of the discussion of the Big 12's realignment exploration. At this point, we're starting to see that they're kind of backing away from that. Is that because they're closer to Colorado and Arizona? Is that because they've decided it's not really necessarily worth it? I don't know. That's the situation we're hearing now. San Diego State is attempting to explore all options if the Pac-12 doesn't get a TV deal done by June 30th, a source said last week. Quote, SDSU is exploring all the options and asking all the questions. The intention of the June 13th letter wasn't that San Diego State is exiting. I totally believe you, Mr. Source there. It might be Mrs. Source. I don't know. But again, I'm betting here that they were basically asking. They probably should have known this the whole entire time. But again, that's where we're at, man. San Diego State has been in the Mountain West since 1999 and is arguably its top overall athletic department, including all sports. San Diego State reached the NCAA tournament title game in the men's basketball this year, and the football program has a new $300 million stadium, Snapdragon Stadium. The football Aztecs have won 10 or more games 5 times since 2015. With USC and UCLA moving to the Big Ten in 2024, San Diego State's allure has increased for leagues as the school conference offers a toehold in Southern California market. Remember here, that article yesterday that I made, the video I had, basically said that the Pac-12 is lucky because not only it looks like they're going to add and keep a presence in Southern California, they're also going to get Texas, they're also going to exist, and it more than looks like this whole bickering that's going back and forth between these teams, it will be settled outside of court with a certain amount of money. Do I think it's going to be 34? No. Do I think it's going to be 16.5? No, it'll be somewhere in the middle. So now that we've gone through that article, and a very important here, I made a video back in April discussing what the Mountain West options are, because at this point, it looks like the Mountain West is like, no, to hell with that, no extension, no this, blah, 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 blah. And again, whatever the hell, I don't know what kind of leverage they have right here. They honestly don't really have a lot of leverage. However, what we need to talk about is what they're going to do if San Diego State leaves, because not only if San Diego State leaves, there's other teams that have been mentioned in conference realignment. Boise State was one of the first 4 out of the Big 12 when they expanded originally back a couple of years ago with BYU, Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston. They were one of the last 4 out, including SMU, Memphis, and South Florida. And then Boise State as well. So they've been mentioned there. In addition to Fresno State's been mentioned too. So right here, and this was 3 months ago, and again, whether or not this has heated up or cooled down, we don't know, but we know that the Big 12 was reportedly interested in a school from California. There's been rumors that it was Fresno State. They've garnered interest from Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark as a strong West Coast brand. Fresno State's got a pretty good history out there. A lot of really good quarterbacks in the NFL that have come from Fresno State. So, they've got an option out there. They do kind of give them that. Whether or not they can get Arizona and Colorado, obviously they would prefer those two. However, if they want to get this emphasis for this West Coast, Fresno State is still out there. They are an option that's on the table. So let's go through that. We're going to go through what I originally said back in April about their options for what the Mountain West can do. And now we're going to go over the updated options now, because I think the math changes here. There's also a really interesting scenario that's going to happen in the middle of this. I'm telling you, it's absolutely going to happen. It's absolutely going to be a thing. Whether or not the Mountain West is prepared for it or not, we'll see. Let's get into that presentation right now. So back in April, I basically said if San Diego State goes, more than likely the Mountain West is not going to do anything. They're probable play. They're going to do nothing. They're going to stay at 10 full members, 11 for football. Hawaii is a football-only member. They play in the Big West for the rest of their sports. They got 2 guaranteed rivals, rotate 6 remaining conference games between the 8 remaining teams, play every team 3 times in 4 years. The aggressive play here would be to add Portland State. It kind of seems like a weird add, but remember here, and again, you see what the Big Ten has done. Big Ten has added big metropolitan universities in big metropolitan markets. Portland's not necessarily a great one. However, Portland would fly direct to everywhere in the Mountain West. It'd be a super easy integration. It flies direct to everywhere in the league. It is in California. It adds a new state. I think it would be a pretty easy integration across the board. And the updated version is basically, I think this is their play here. And again, more than likely, if they lose San Diego State, I don't think they're going to do anything. They've got a couple options here, but again, that hasn't changed the math. However, these next scenarios are going to change. So back in April, I said if San Diego State and or one of Fresno State and or Boise State go, their probable play is to add New Mexico State and UTEP, put you at 11 full members, 12 football, extremely easy travel and integration of teams. They're both right next to each other. And again, an aggressive play would be at Portland State and Eastern Washington. Spokane's a reasonably sized, TV market as to whether or not, first of all, it'd be crazy if Fresno State left, Eastern Washington came in, and Boise State's blue turf and Eastern Washington's red turf were to play with each other. It would be absolutely wild. But again, that's an aggressive play. A super aggressive play would add South Dakota State and North Dakota State. Now, my updated version here is if you lose San Diego State and or Fresno or Boise State, 2 of those 3, you got to get real aggressive. The updated thing that they need to do is if they lose San Diego State and one of Fresno State or Boise State, they got to go big. They got to add all 4, and I think all 4 is very, very important here. Montana State, North Dakota State, and South Dakota State. They need to over-add the way that American did when they added 6 Conference USA teams. And again, a lot of people say, oh, those teams were all good. No, what happened here is, again, no offense to North Texas, but at the same time, I think that what the American did is we don't know if we're going to lose South Florida. We don't know if we're going to lose Memphis. We don't know if we're going to lose SMU. So what we're going to do is we're going to over-add, maybe over-index a little bit there, but that way, in case we lose those 3 teams, remember here, those 3 teams were listed in the first 4 out for the Big 12. Whether or not they're still there, that's up for debate. But that's what they did. They're like, okay, we're going to over-add, because if we lose 3 more, now we've got 13 down to 10, we'll be fine. And again, here, further losses for the Mountain West would be absolutely devastating. So that right now, if they lose San Diego State, they would be down to 10 full, 11 football. If they lose 2 of the, San Diego State and or Fresno or Boise State, they would be down to 9 overall, 10 football. So they'd have to over-index at that point. I think that if you think about it, North Dakota State and South Dakota State, they are super, super far from from San Jose State. It'll be a ridiculously long flight. Now they do lose some of that travel because San Diego State, who's kind of off there in the corner, is leaving away. So maybe the league moves a little bit more from the West Coast to a little bit more central, whatever that situation is. But you had Montana, you had Montana State, North Dakota State, and South Dakota State, some of the biggest brands in the FCS ranks in the mountain regions. And again, there's pretty big brands over there in the east side of the country. Don't get me wrong, especially in the Great Lakes region as well, Youngstown State, something like that. But you lose San Diego State and or Fresno or Boise State. And again, whether or not it's going to happen or not, I don't know. But if you do, you got to over-index because more than likely you're going to continue to lose more. As a matter of fact, my next scenario articulates that too. All right, so this was my previous scenario in April. I said they lose San Diego State, Fresno State, and Boise State. Their probable play is to add New Mexico State and UTEP, as well as one of UC Davis, Sac State, Cal Poly. They need to reestablish California. You lose two of the biggest brands in the state of California. All you have is University of Nevada, Reno, which is on the border. And then you have San Jose State. You need to add somebody else. I would guess one of the schools. And then the aggressive play, add Portland State and Eastern Washington, super aggressive. Add the Dakotas, outrageously aggressive. Add the Dakotas, Eastern Washington, Portland State, and then one of UC Davis, Sac State, or Cal Poly. And again, that's their crazy play. Here's what you have to remember here, and this is something that happened before. It was a rumor, and I think that they have the strength to do this if the Mountain West loses San Diego State, Fresno State, and Boise State, is this next scenario, which I think I've updated to have it to be more correct. So remember here, updated. If San Diego State, Fresno State, and Boise State go, arguably three of the top brands. Some people might say Utah State, Hawaii used to be, not anymore. Hawaii is definitely kind of down right now. What they need to watch out for is Colorado State and Air Force being plucked by the American. Both fly in and out of Denver. It'd be a super easy integration into the American. It add a new market. It would add also Navy versus Air Force would be a conference game if the American came after them. That's absolutely something you would have to watch out for. And the American would have more of a respected brand that the Mountain West wouldn't. So San Diego State, Fresno State, and Boise State go. I guarantee you Colorado State and Air Force are like, peace, we're out too. You lose 5 members. You go from 10 overall, 11 football to 5 overall, 6 football. Ugh. In that instance, again, you'd probably need to add Montana, Montana State, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, possibly even try and pluck UTEP and New Mexico State as well, whatever that situation is there. But it would be a messy, messy deal if they lost San Diego State, Fresno State, Boise State. I'm telling you, Colorado State, Air Force, they would be out the door too. So it looks like that San Diego State and the Mountain West are headed for a breakup. Whether or not San Diego State goes to the Pac-12, that's my bet there, or the Big 12, I don't really know there. But the Mountain West, you're in that scenario now where it looks like San Diego State's going to be out the door. Fresno State has been lightly rumored. Boise State has been lightly rumored to leave for the Big 12. And again, whether or not, if the Big 12 gets Arizona and Colorado, that's not an issue. But if they do get those two teams out of there, I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado State and Air Force head for the American and the Mountain West would have to do something big. I think Montana, Montana State, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, all together. Multiple national championships, multiple national championship appearances from the FCS ranks brought over. That's their only way to survive. It would extend the league out thousands and thousands of miles. I mean, we're talking about San Jose State to, Fargo is multiple thousands of miles. I think 2,000 miles, something like that. But it's what you got to do to survive. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. I really appreciate that too. Twitter fam growing. Anyways, get in the comments right now. Let me know what you guys think. But I'll see you guys later. I am out.